Story number 8, and the final story, the top lucky number 8 ball story that made it to the media this week. People all over the world are fighting for better forms of governing. Now, let me remind you, governing. They are trying to find some type of governing platform that can work for them. Some people are fed up with communism. Some people are fed up with socialism. Some people are fed up with dictators, and sometimes you get an activist group that will just start protests, they'll become criminals to save the future of their country. And there have been tons. If you do not know the history of the United States, the country was founded off of, the founders tried to find a better form of governing. So this story definitely has potential, especially when you see protests in Hong Kong. I mean, activists getting in heated fights with police, clashing with police. There's talking about how some activists, pro-democracy activists, were arrested for unlawfully organizing rallies around June 21st. So this story, there were even protests that have been occurring in Russia, in Moscow. Students fighting for democracy in Russia. So you cannot be in a representative democracy and not notice these stories, because to understand how a representative democracy works, you have to be or have some knowledge of what happens in America and how America works. We've got an extensive court system, extensive system of governing, but in some parts of the world, people are still fighting for this type of governing system. And they're, even in this country, they can't figure out how some people just still can't be satisfied. Some people say the system is not fair. It basically involves, like one of the stories I made, it just basically being educated on how the justice system works. Russia announces ceasefire in Idlib. I guess this is a rebel stronghold. So you look at places like Syria, where Russia is, the United States is there, Turkey's there, and they're all fighting this war because Assad, all of a sudden, they're saying that he decided to start chemically killing his citizens, giving them chemical weapons, basically using chemical weapons to kill his citizens. So everybody across the world is fighting for a better organized system of governing, and that's why story number 8 is at the top, because it's starting to affect the global markets. And when you see a trade war, or you see a country that doesn't have much being brought down to earth with a country that has a lot, especially a democracy, and these you see the monarchs like Brexit, and you see socialist countries and dictators being overrun. Like even with South Korea, South Korea, North Korea, how these countries function. It's very, very scary when you see what could work, what the people want. We even seen a man set himself on fire in Islam. I know we remember this, how it started a lot of protests. I believe it was in Egypt, and so all over the world, citizens, and I can even bring up Puerto Rico. I know you remember the story in Puerto Rico where it's still happening now, where they're saying that their officials were corrupt, were not using the taxpayers' money correctly. So this story is definitely going to stay alive. It's in the top 8 now, but when you talk about activists on a global scale, trying to find systems that work, citizens get tired. Even in France, we saw the protests. Protests have been going on all over the world when they feel like the people running the system has more money, more power, and then next thing you know, once word gets out and it stems to the bottom. You can even look at even in a representative democracy in the United States, even with the trade unions and how the working class have basically been crippled. It's just a matter of time before that ripple effect, when those jobs are being lost, it affects government. So it even happens in a representative democracy, where when you have the top 1%, if they have too much and they become corrupt, it trickles down, and next thing you know, I always tell people, the people who have nothing to lose are the ones to be afraid of the most, because these are the people that will riot. They will start protesting. They will start getting and this is why it's good to be involved and understand what's happening. The Trump administration is supposed to, even like I said, even in representative democracy, the Trump administration is reportedly have been taking millions from FEMA to fund immigration courts and ICE jailings. So it even happens in this country where they have a budget, a government budget, and the people in charge decide what to do with this money, and a group of people get upset. They start rioting and protesting. There are a lot of humanitarian aides who do not like the immigration policies. FEMA is supposed to be for federal aid and for when a disaster happens, and they're saying that the government has been tapping into this fund. So story number 8 definitely has a lot of potential to stay alive. Definitely an important story, and it definitely continues to heat up even as we speak, all across the globe, all across the world, even in Africa. They had to colonize Africa, different types of governing tactics. I remember even Gertrude Bell, a book about a woman who went across the deserts of the Middle East, finding ways to teach people how to govern. And so stories like this are always on the top radar, because people in power have that authority to show other people how to live. You have in America, you have districts, you have counties, you have different precincts, different regions, all different types of governing systems, city governments, townships. So there's all different types of ways to be schooled on how to govern and what works for a certain system. And this story definitely has a lot of potential. Those are our top 8 stories. I want to thank you so much for tuning in this week. And like I said, if you want to be a contributor or help out, anyway, all you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. I like to end the show always with thanks to all the news outlets and journalists that keep us informed. You deserve all the credit. I am just a mediator. All I do is navigate the news, find the stories, doing the research, doing the reading for my audience. So if you yourself want to be a contributor, help out anyway, all you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Thank you for tuning to the Mediator this week with me, Brian West. I am out of here.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.